the Fayetteville Observer.
And we're going to begin with your weather. Before I do, don't forget, tomorrow is Groundhog Day. It's important for the groundhogs that you listen to what they're going to say. For today, for our weather, we're going to have a high of 65. That's right, 65. Mostly sunny, pleasant, and warmer. Tonight, we're going to have many clouds and a little rain, a little late in the evening, a low of 46. Friday, we have a high of 51. A morning shower or two, but don't give up. Sun's coming out for those groundhogs. Saturday, a high of 45. That's right, 45. And a low of 33 again. Chilly with increasing clouds. Sunday, we're going to have a high of 51 and a low of 40. Rain and drizzle in the afternoon. Going to Monday, going to have a high of 56. 56, that's right. A low of 31, rain and drizzle possible. And Tuesday, yay, a high of 60. We're going to have a low of 41 with plenty of sunshine. And Wednesday, we have a high of 64, a low of 36, cloudy with rain possible. Sunday and the moon. Sunrise today was at 7:15 a.m. and the sunset tonight will be later, 5:44 now p.m. Days are getting longer. The moon will rise today at 8:24 p.m. and the moon will set today at 8:46 a.m. Sunrise Friday, 7:14 a.m. Sunset Friday, 5:45 p.m. How about the phases of the moon? We will see the last moon on February 7th and a new moon on February 15th, one day after Valentine's. We have our first moon coming up on February 23rd and look for a full moon on March 1st. There's your weather today.
And our applause today goes to Jamal Young of Fayetteville. He received a Bachelor of Science degree from Troy University. And Teranique Washington of Fort Bragg, North Carolina, received a Bachelor of Science degree also from Troy University. And today in history. Today is 1 February 2018. It's Thursday. It is the 32nd day of 2018, and there are 333 days left in this year. Today's highlight: on the 1st of February 1943, during World War II, one of America's most highly decorated military units, the 442nd Regimental Combat Team, made up almost exclusively of Japanese Americans, it was authorized. And on today's date in history, 1960, 4 black college students began a sit-in protest at the Woolworth's lunch counter in Greensboro, North Carolina, where they'd been refused service. And on today's date in history, in 1968, during the Vietnam War, South Vietnam's police chief, Nguyen Ngoc Loan, executed a Viet Cong officer with a pistol shot to the head in a scene captured by news photographers, and it was seen all across the world. And on today's date in 1979, Iranian religious leader Ayatollah Ruhollah Khomeini received a tumultuous welcome in Tehran, Iran, as he ended nearly 15 years of exile. And finally, on today's date in history, in the year 2003, the Space Shuttle Columbia broke up during re-entry, killing all 7 of its crew members. Commander Rick Husband, the pilot, William McCool, payload commander Michael Anderson, mission specialist Kalpana Chawla, David Brown, and Laurel Clark, and payload specialist Ihan Ramon, the first Israeli in space. And today's celebrity birthday in our area, our birthday wishes go to Shirley Inman. She was born today, 1st of February. And other birthdays, singer Don Everly is 81 years old. Actor Garrett Morris is 81. Bluegrass singer Del McCoury is 79. Comedian, actor, director Terry Jones is 76. Blues singer, musician Sonny Landreth is 67. Actress Cheryl Lynn Finn is 53. Lisa Marie Presley is 50 years old today. Actor Brian Krause is 49. Jazz musician Joshua Redmond is 49. Rapper Big Boy from the Outkast is 43. Roots rocker Jason Isbell is 39. Country singer Julie Roberts is 39. Actress singer Heather Morris is 31. And actress and mixed martial artist Ronda Rousey is 31 years old today. And that wraps up today's birthdays for the 1st of February 2018.
Let's go to the live wire from the Observer staff. Property tax benefit proposal never became law. Question. You wrote an article in March of 2017 about the property tax benefit for disabled veterans changing from $45,000 to $100,000 a year. I was wondering if you had any further information about it. In the article it said it had been approved. I'm trying to adjust my property tax value and my local government seems to know anything about it. This is from MB in Wilmington. Answer. The proposal never became law. North Carolina has a tax break for disabled veterans that exempts them from paying local property taxes on the first $45,000 of their home's value. This legislation would have boosted the exemption to $100,000 for veterans who are 100% disabled. However, the expanded exemption would have caused a decrease in tax revenues for local governments, money used to pay for police and fire departments, parks and recreation, and other local government services. It was estimated that Fayetteville, for example, would face a revenue reduction of more than $1 million a year. The legislation was altered to have the state government reimburse the city and county governments for that reduced revenue. That reimbursement money, estimated to start at $11.6 million a year and go up from there, would have come from state income tax, sales taxes, and other state revenues. The tax break expansion passed the state house, but it never came to a vote in the state senate. The idea could be considered again when the legislature meets in May to set the 2018-19 state budget. That was composed by Paul Wolverton, and Livewire seeks to answer questions of general interest and consumer topics. The initials are used to identify the questioners when the names are given. Contact Livewire at fayeobserver.com or at 486-3516.
And for your public safety today, in Cumberland County, there were several arrests made. Jacqueline Campbell, age 16, of the 1000 block of Stratdon Avenue, was charged Wednesday with larceny from the person. Bail was set at $5,000. Juan Carlos Rivera, age 46, of the 1100 block of Honeycutt Road, was charged Wednesday with purchase of a vehicle for scrap or parts only, possessing a stolen vehicle, and obtaining property by false pretense. Juan Carlos Rivera's bail was set at $15,000. Cynthia Ann G. Hillsman, age 27, of the 1100 block of Hallberry Drive, and Takesha Elnita Williams, age 26, of the 1500 block of Mintz Avenue. They were charged Wednesday with larceny from a merchant possessing stolen property, and conspiracy. Hillman's bail was set at $1,000, and the bail for Takesha Elnita Williams her bail was at $1,500. She was charged with obtaining property by false pretense. And Draco Royce de Monta Plater, age 24, of the 1900 block of Powell Street, was charged Tuesday with possessing a controlled substance with the intent to manufacture, to sell and deliver, and misdemeanor possession of a controlled substance. And Draco Royce de Monta Plater's bail was set at $1,500. And break-ins, there were break-ins in Hope Mills, one at Stormcat Lane. It was reported at 7:19 a.m. Tuesday morning. 4 shotguns and a weapon and weapons cases were stolen. Also in Hope Mills on Anchor Court, it was reported at 10:58 a.m. on Monday morning. 2 handguns, prescription drugs, boots, watches, phone headphones, and a necklace, they were taken. And on Lineman Drive, it was reported at 11:14 p.m. Monday. Electronics and a purse was taken. And robberies. There was a robbery on Andrews Road. John Christopher Norman and Gregory Glenn Myers reported at 8:10 p.m. on Monday that they were robbed at gunpoint of oxycodone at a residence on Andrews Road. No injuries were reported. And the last robbery was in Spring Lake. An employee of the multi-mile gas station on Lillington Highway reported at 10:13 p.m. on Monday that the business was robbed at gunpoint of $200.
Need to know. What do you need to know? Number 1, the Ruth Polly Lecture Series. Next installment of the Ruth Polly Lecture Series is February 8th, 7:30 p.m. in the Owens Auditorium on the campus of Sandhills Community College in Pinehurst. Heather McGee and Gary Civitello present Facing Prejudice Honestly. This event is free and open to the public. The college is at 3395 Airport Road. Number 2, a luncheon. The third annual Moore County Historical Association luncheon is set for March 19th at the Shaw House and Garner Cabin on Morganton Road and Broad Street in Southern Pines. There will be 2 seatings at 11:30 a.m. and at 1 p.m. Takeout service will be available. Reservations are required for both the seated meals and takeout. The cost is $20 per person. To reserve a meal and a seat, call 910-281-5417. For more information, call 910-692-2051, weekday afternoons, or go to morehistory.com. The event is a fundraiser to help the association maintain and preserve 5 historic home museums. Number 3, grab your tennis shoes and a bottle of water. We're going on a 2-mile nature hike. Join a ranger at Carver's Creek State Park at 2 p.m. Sunday for the hike. Participants, we will explore the recently drained mill pond that provides a glimpse of land use history dating to the 1800s and observe numerous native species to the sandhills. Bring a bottle of water and wear comfortable shoes. The park is at 2505 Long Valley Road in Spring Lake. And if you need more information, here's the number, 436-4681. Now listeners, we want to hear from you. Please submit your events in writing at least 10 days, that's right, 10 days in advance. Email your calendar at fayeobserver.com or fax your details to 486-3545. And if you have any questions, dial 486-3500.
The 28th December assault suspect has been jailed. A man wanted by the Fayetteville Police Department in a brutal assault that left a man on life support was arrested Wednesday. Corey McLaughlin, age 31, of the 900 block of Carver Street, is charged with attempted first-degree murder and assault by strangulation causing serious bodily injury. Jeffrey Lacey, age 42, was attacked on the 28th of December 2017 near the Ya Food Market located at 3175 Murchison Road at the Pamela Drive intersection, according to a Fayetteville Police News release. Jeffrey Lacey, age 42, suffered severe head trauma, the warrant said, and Jeffrey Lacey was taken to UNC hospitals in Chapel Hill. Corey McLaughlin's bail was set at $500,000.
Bragg is going to welcome a new Garrison Command Sergeant Major by Drew Brooks, military editor. Fort Bragg will welcome a new Garrison Command Sergeant Major during a ceremony today at the Soldier Support Center. Command Sergeant Major John K. Cervenka will relinquish responsibility as the senior non-commissioned officer of the garrison to Command Sergeant Major Eric McCrae, officials said. The ceremony will take place at Fort Bragg's Hall of Heroes. Cervenka has held the position since November 2015. In that time, he has played a key role in the unit responsible for a wide swath of activities on the nation's largest military installation, from managing training ranges and helping soldiers transitioning to post or into civilian life, to tasks a civilian city government would do, such as law enforcement and public works. McCrae is a native of Conway, Arkansas. He enlisted in the Army Reserve in January 1990 as a material storage and handling specialist and transitioned into the active duty force in July 1992 as a Patriot missile crew member. He has served in numerous leadership positions within the Army, including drill sergeant, platoon sergeant, first sergeant, operations sergeant major, and battalion command sergeant major. McCrae has served on Fort Bragg with the 108th Air Defense Artillery Brigade, and most recently was senior, the enlisted leader of the 35th Air Defense Artillery Brigade at Osan Air Base, South Korea. Now you can reach military editor Drew Brooks at dbrooks@fayobserver.com or call Drew at 486-3567.
Detectives are investigating 17 thefts of catalytic converters, mostly within the city, the Fayetteville Police Department said in a news release Wednesday. Many of the thefts, which were reported between Friday and Monday, were from Honda vehicles, and most of the thefts occurred within apartment complexes throughout Fayetteville. A catalytic converter is a chemical filter connected to the exhaust system of an automobile designed to react with the fumes in an effort to reduce air pollution. They are seen as a commodity for thieves, which is similar to the copper and other metals they sell on the black market. Detectives and crime prevention specialists encourage apartment complex management, community watch groups, and residents to remain alert for any suspicious activity they may observe. Anyone with information regarding the recent thefts is asked to call Sergeant M. Bohannon at 910-433-1803, or you may call Crime Stoppers at 910-483-TIPS, which is actually 910-483-8477.
Okay, and we're looking at our support groups today. Thursday, Autism Preschool Support Center, 10 a.m. Partnership for Children Resource Center, 351 Wagner Drive, Suite 410. Families of young children with ASD, ages birth to 5 years. You may call at 826-3005. Celebrate Recovery, 7 p.m. at the Northwood Temple, House of Hope, 4400 Ramsey Street, Christ-Centered Support Group for Substance Abuse, 488-7474. Diabetes Management Clinic, 5 to 7 p.m., Better Health of Cumberland County, 1422 Bragg Boulevard, 483-7534. Adult Female Sexual Assault Survivors, 6 to 7:30 p.m. Call Rape Crisis Volunteers of Cumberland County for the location at 485-7273. Congestive heart failure, 3:30 to 4:30 at the Cardiac Rehab Classroom at Cape Fear Valley Medical Center, 615-4809. Methadone Anonymous, 10 to 11:30 a.m., 3423 A Melrose Road, or you may call 800-810-8423. Gamblers Anonymous, 7 p.m. at Christ United Methodist Church, 3101 Rayford Road. Take off pounds sensibly, 6 p.m. at Cumberland United Methodist Church, 800-932-8677, or go to tops.org. And Alcoholics Anonymous, 7 a.m. to noon, 5:38, 11 p.m., 626 Sandalwood Drive, 9:30 a.m., 531 Hillsborough Street, noon, 8 p.m., German Street, noon, 1601 Rayford Road, noon, and 6:30, 401 East 1st Street in Lumberton. And there are many of these places that you can just go to. AA Book Study, 7:30 p.m. at the Trinity United Methodist Church, 6974 Rayford Road. Al-Anon at 10:30 a.m. Vaughn Memorial Presbyterian Church, 2701 Fort Bragg Road. We have a helpline, 678-8002. Narcotics Anonymous, for weekly meeting times and locations, call 866-418-9500 or go to crna.org. We have a care group from 7 to 8:30 for medical oncology waiting room, the Cancer Center at Cape Fear Valley Health Center, 609-6791. And we have sexual assault women's group, 6 to 7:30 p.m., 485-7273. Okay, and these are all in the newspaper under the support group section.
Lawmakers want a county-wide water available for all. State lawmakers urged Cumberland County officials Wednesday to work on providing water to the entire county in light of the contamination of wells near the Kenmore's plant just across the Bladen County line. Representative Billy Richardson told members of the Fayetteville Cumberland Liaison Committee that the more he learns about Gen X, the more concerned he is getting. The thing is, it is just the tip of the iceberg, said Billy Richardson. The Kenmore's facility just off North Carolina 87 makes Gen X, which is used in non-stick cookware and other products. The compound has been linked to several forms of cancer in animal studies, but it is not known if the effects is the same in humans. The State Department of Environmental Quality has been investigating the chemical Gen X since news broke out in June of 2017 that researchers had found the potentially cancer-causing compound in the Cape Fear River. The chemical has since been discovered in more than 250 private wells around the plant. We have no clue how wide or how far Gen X has infiltrated into the water system, said Representative Billy Richardson. It is a serious issue. Larry Lancaster, chairman of the Cumberland County Board of Commissioners, said establishing a county-wide water system is one of the board's top priorities. There's no reason in the world we live in today that people should not have clean water, and we're going to try to make that happen. Representative Marvin Lucas said the county needs a water system. We are the largest county in the state, and without county-wide water, said Marvin Lucas. Billy Richardson said he plans to introduce legislation calling for a bond issue to help pay for infrastructure needs such as water and sewer. He said the state should take advantage of low interest rates and the state's good credit rating. The state has $1.8 billion worth in a rainy day fund, while some Cumberland County schools are using bottled water because of the Gen X contamination, said Representative Billy Richardson. When school children are taking bottled water, how in the world is that not a rainy day, he said. Staff writer Steve Devane wrote this article, and if you have questions for him about this article, you may reach him at sdevane@fayeobserver.com, or you may call him at 910-486-3572. I'd like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today. The time now is 10:30 in the morning on Thursday, 1 February 2018.
You know, I'm really glad it's February.
Why is that, Nancy?
February is Cupid's month,
I did not know that.
and he's getting restless and full of mischief. You know, he has some arrows he's going to shoot at people to make them fall in love.
You're talking about Valentine's Day, I suppose.
That's right. And what day is that?
14 February 2018. I'm not sure what the day is, but I'm sure we'll find out.
It's a Wednesday. I already checked.
Oh, okay.
All right, we have a lake to celebrate. I'm happy about this. Can't say we blame the lake for being impatient. Its identity has been missing for a long, long time. I want you to listen how this lake fills up with water. So when it took matters into its own hands and filled itself ahead of schedule, well, is anyone going to complain? Welcome back, Hope Mills Lake. It's good to see you. The lake, or the lack of lake, has been one of Hope Mills' top concerns for the most part and the best part of 15 years. The original earthen dam that created the lake had held up for about 80 years. But when a sluice gate malfunctioned during a storm in 2003, it was washed away, and it took 5 years to build a replacement dam, which then failed in less than 2 years. 7 years later, another new dam is in place, and the lake is full. That happened ahead of schedule. The town had planned a ribbon-cutting ceremony this week, and then would gradually fill the lake over a few weeks. But steady rains earlier this week changed that plan. The town received state approval on Friday to refill the lake, and then the rains filled the lake bed in just a few days. The town shut the dam's gates on Tuesday, and just like that, Hope Mills has its lake back. And after a long, long wait, the town has its beloved centerpiece back. This time, we hope it's good for another 80 years or more. Yay!
2 individuals face identity theft and immigration charges. 2 Honduran brothers working at the Prestige Farms Incorporated plant in Garland are accused of being in the country illegally and using stolen identities to gain their employment. A federal grand jury in Raleigh returned indictments this week against Jose Noel Izaguirre Inostroza, age 42, and his brother Wilson Abad Inostroza, and he's 37 years old, according to a release from the Office of the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of North Carolina. The 2 brothers are charged with false representation of a Social Security number, false representation of U.S. citizenship with the intent to engage unlawfully in employment in the United States of America, aggravated identity theft, and illegal re-entry of a deported alien. In December of last year, the Sampson County Sheriff's Office contacted the Homeland Security Investigations Office in Raleigh, North Carolina, after receiving a call from a man identified as CPB in an affidavit for a federal arrest warrant. CPB told Sampson County investigators he had filed taxes using his Social Security number in January of 2017, and the person was continuing to work in North Carolina. Investigators discovered a man using CPB's information and was working at the Prestige Farms in Garland. About 2 weeks ago, on the 16th of January, Homeland Security investigators and a sheriff's office representative went to the Garland plant asking about CPB, who was brought to an office to speak with the agents, the affidavit said. When asked his name and place of birth, the man said his name was CB and he was a native of Honduras. The second time he was asked his name, he admitted to being Izaguirre Inestroza. When asked for proof, he told them a Honduran identification card was in his wallet, which was in Inestroza's car parked outside the building. Agents suspecting that Inestroza was using a stolen identity had him brought to the office where, when asked his name, he replied, E.M. The affidavit said. When asked again, Inestroza gave them his real name. Upon checking immigration records, investigators discovered the brothers had previously entered the country illegally and were deported back to Honduras. But the brothers again entered the United States illegally. In Estrosza in the year 2005 and Izaguirre in Estrosza in 2016. In April 2016, after his arrest, Izaguirre in Estrosza was released from custody and placed on supervision. I believe that means he was actually placed on supervised work, the affidavit said. He was to be monitored by GPS and told to report to immigration officials in Charlotte 10 days later. When he failed to show up, he was declared a fugitive, the affidavit said. In Estrosza admitted to having been arrested for driving while impaired in April of 2011 in Sampson County using the name Rodolfo Antonio Quintanilla. A records check showed that he was convicted and sentenced to 12 months of unsupervised probation. He was ordered to perform community service but failed to comply, the affidavit said. If convicted, both brothers could be sentenced to 12 years in prison, followed by a supervised release and fined up to $250,000. Now, this article was written by Nancy McCleary. If you have any questions about this article, because it's somewhat confusing with all those different names and initials being thrown around, you may call her and talk to her about this article at 910-486-3568. And Nancy, I've just got to say, if they are sentenced to prison, they will have the best health care probably. They'll have 3 meals a day. They'll get to work out in the yard, lifting weights and running around and getting even healthier. So is this really the right thing to do, I wonder?
I wonder too. I really do.
Yes.
Well, let's see what the opinion is for Thursday, February 1st, 2018. This is the Observer's editorials. President Donald Trump looked out over a sharply divided Congress Tuesday evening and a deeply divided nation and said some important things. He used the word together often. We hope he continues down that path. Tonight I want to talk about what kind of future we are going to have and what kind of nation we are going to be. All of us together as one team, one people, and one American family, he said. We all share the same home, the same heart, the same destiny, and the same great American flag. Together we are rediscovering the American way. That's an optimistic and inclusive outlook for a man who is by nature combative, but we'll take it. We Americans need to go there. He said the state of our union is strong. In some way, he's right. He peppered his annual report to Congress with examples of selfless heroism, concert goers shielding strangers from gunfire, rescuers leaping into hurricane-spawned floodwaters to save their neighbors, and painted a picture of our nation's strength of character and purpose. It's true. That's the real America, the good and decent nation we see here on our own streets every day, and in the soldiers among us who are willing to sacrifice their own lives for something larger and more important. But we don't see enough of that goodness and character on display in Washington. It's missing from a Congress that decades ago degenerated into a gridlocked, hyper-partisan body incapable of unanimously proclaiming that the sun rose this morning. It's a failing institution so polarized that partisans both blue and red are willing to shut down government if they can't get their way. If American governance is not completely broken, it's surely malfunctioning on a grand scale. Nor do we see much positive coming from Raleigh, where the give and take of political debate has succumbed to partisan one-upmanship that is beginning to poison all three branches of government. Some of our legislative leaders are even trying to polarize our judicial system. The Republican Party, which trails both Democrats and the unaffiliated in voter registration numbers, has nevertheless manipulated the system for veto-proof dominance. But our legislature, like the delegation to Washington, doesn't have a remote resemblance to the purple state that they represent. In North Carolina, as well as most of the country, the overwhelming majority of people stand near the center line on matters of government. Few of us are radicals, standing at either extreme. Most of us are able to listen and understand our neighbors' viewpoints, even if we disagree, and we can find middle ground and remain friends. We need a Congress and a General Assembly that can do the same. We hope the President can lead the country's political machinery to that same place. Although given the comments we heard Tuesday night and Wednesday, we're not at all sure it's possible anytime soon. Still, the Donald Trump we heard Tuesday night is a president who can at least begin nudging us in that direction. We won't assess his State of the Union proposals because most of them were vague and general, as they usually are in any president's annual address to Congress. We do share the president's enthusiasm for an economy that continues to rise, and we'd be deeply grateful if he can make the Public Works program happen. America is increasingly a country of broken infrastructure, and we need to mend and improve our roads, railroads, ports, airports, and all the other public structures that we use every day. But the real purpose of the State of the Union address is to lead and inspire. The President can accomplish that if he shows us during the coming year the same outlook, seriousness, and optimism that he displays Tuesday night. We hope to see the same from Congress and our state lawmakers as well.
Nancy, you just heard the last article I read, which was about two Honduran brothers that faced two identity theft charges. Both of them faced identity theft charges and immigration charges. And one of them was convicted of driving while impaired in this country. Now we have an article here. It says that there is no immigration deal near. Despite Donald Trump's offer of compromise, both the Democrats and Republicans are no closer to a deal. President Donald Trump's State of the Union offer of a down-the-middle compromise on immigration did nothing to move Republicans and Democrats closer to a deal Wednesday, as Democrats accused the president of lacing his speech with racially charged remarks, and Republicans dug in on their demands. The reaction to Donald Trump's high-profile overture suggested both parties were settling into a protracted tug-of-war concerning immigration. The standoff left serious doubt whether the two parties could reach an election year pact to protect hundreds of thousands of young immigrants from deportation, sharpen border security, and take other steps to curb illegal immigration. The two parties had not even settled on a deadline agreement, which is a bad sign in an institution that rarely acts unless under pressure. If the deadline is 8 February, we are not going to make it, the number 2 House Democratic leader Steny Hoyer of Maryland said Wednesday, noting a looming deadline for approving government funding to avoid another government shutdown. It is going to take work for us to build a consensus, Representative Steve Scalise A Republican from Louisiana, the House GOP vote counter, said in an interview Tuesday. Representative Steve Scalise noted that Republicans took weeks and weeks to craft tax legislation last year. Earlier this month, Senate Democrats, looking to pressure Republicans to reach an immigration deal, forced a 3-day federal government shutdown. While many Democrats have little appetite to repeat that strategy, party leaders have yet to indicate if they will let future budget legislation move forward without an immigration accord. The tone of immigration debate, already testy, seemed to worsen after President Donald Trump asserted Tuesday night that open borders have allowed drugs and gang members to pour into our most vulnerable communities and let millions of immigrants compete for jobs and wages against the poorest of Americans. House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi, a Democrat from California, said Wednesday that Donald Trump used insulting words of ignorance and prejudice. Representative Michelle Lujan Grisham, a Democrat from New Mexico, who leads the Congressional Hispanic Caucus, said the remarks were meant to inflame tensions about immigrants and would stir up Donald Trump's conservative base but damage their talks. The Republicans said Democrats are not making serious offers as they bargain over deferred action for childhood arrivals, or DACA, the Obama-era program that shielded dreamers in the United States illegally who were brought here as children. Donald Trump said last year he was ending that program, claiming executive overreach by President Barack Obama, but gave Congress until March 5th to enshrine it into law. If the Democrats don't figure out a way to negotiate, then the DACA program will end, and that's not an outcome I think anybody would like, said Senator John Cornyn of Texas, the second-ranking Senate GOP leader, but they will be responsible for it. Even that March 5th date was in doubt, according to the number 2 House Democratic leader, Steny Hoyer of Maryland, who's been meeting with other leaders. He said Wednesday that Republicans suggested Donald Trump could extend that deadline, though a congressional GOP aide said he was unaware of that. The urgency of the March 5th deadline was also blunted by a federal judge's decision to temporarily block the end of the DACA program. And as a result, U.S. immigration authorities resumed accepting requests to renew DACA permits, which provide recipients permission to live and work in the United States of America. Donald Trump has proposed a 10 to 12-year track to citizenship for around 1.8 million younger immigrants protected by DACA or eligible for its guarantees. And that is enraged GOP conservatives. Now, Nancy, I did notice that during the State of the Union address, there was no mention of eliminating the Anchor Baby program. And I wonder why that was not brought up.
And what is the Anchor Baby program?
That is, if you are in this country from another country, let's say you are from the Soviet Union, Russia, and you're pregnant, you come here, and you have a baby here, that baby that is born in the United States from Russian citizens automatically becomes a United States citizen. And that anchors those two parents from the Soviet Union. And they really don't have to go back.
I know that.
So
yes.
they never addressed that, and I was really shocked. Weren't you?
I was.
Okay, what have you got?
All right, I like this topic. We have a beautiful picture on page A4 of the Fayetteville Observer, soldier honored for heroism. Now, this happened in 2016. Specialist Elvis Romero greets fellow soldiers after receiving the Soldier's Medal on Wednesday. Romero was recognized for pulling a soldier from a fiery car crash near Simmons Army Airfield in December of 2016. So Amanda Dolinsinski, the staff writer, writes this for us to enjoy. Even as flames from a wrecked vehicle grew larger, Specialist Elvis Romero stayed calm and worked quickly to free the vehicle's driver, a soldier who was unconscious and pinned inside. Romero watched the flames spark in the smashed engine while he and another soldier unbuckled the unconscious man and carefully pulled him from the vehicle. Romero never hesitated. Walking away was unfathomable, he said. I wanted to make sure he was okay, Romero said, recalling the multiple vehicle crash that happened outside Simmons Army Airfield in December 2016. Romero, a 3-year veteran who works as a chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear defense specialist for the 3rd Airfield Operations Battalion, 58th Aviation Regiment, was honored Wednesday with the Soldier's Medal for his actions. The Soldier's Medal is awarded for acts of heroism outside of battle. It's an honor and a privilege, Romero said after he received the medal during a ceremony at Simmons Army Airfield. Lieutenant General Laura Richardson, Deputy Commander of Forces Command, commended Romero's efforts. Specialist Romero wasn't thinking on that day, what happens to me, she said, in terms of what Specialist Romero did and the Soldier's Medal. I'm very proud to present that to him. Last week, Sergeant Jeffrey Rose, an Apache mechanic for the 82nd Combat Aviation Brigade, received the Soldier's Medal for his actions during the crash. The crash occurred outside the gate at Simmons just before 6 a.m. on December 5, 2016, when Romero was driving to physical training. He saw a Humvee collide with a car about 40 meters in front of him. Romero pulled over and rushed to the crash to check for injured people. He and Rose went to the wrecked vehicle where they determined the driver was unconscious and pinned under the steering column. Romero saw a baby seat in the back of the wrecked car. There wasn't a child inside, but Romero thought about the man and his family as he worked to free him. Once Romero and Rose got the unconscious soldier away from the fiery wreck, they performed basic first aid and stayed with him until emergency responders arrived. The unconscious soldier was taken to a hospital where he recovered from his injuries. Time is very sensitive, and you had to move quickly, Romero said. I don't know why I did it. I'd like to say anyone would get out to assist. It wasn't surprising to hear for Romero's wife, America Romero, a specialist assigned to another unit on Fort Bragg. She attended the ceremony with the couple's 6-month-old daughter, Anastasia. He always puts others in front of himself, she said. He's very brave. I'm happy that he gets to be recognized. Now you can reach staff writer Amanda Dolinski, and you can reach her at a.dolasinski@fayeobserver.com, or give Amanda a call at 486-3528.
A Hope woman is charged in a break-in and an assault. In Rayford, a Rayford woman has been charged with breaking and entering and assault on a handicapped person, the Hope County Sheriff's Office said in a news release. The Hope County Sheriff's Office responded 17 January 2018 to a breaking and entering on the 7400 block of Callaway Road in Aberdeen. The victim reported that the suspect had entered the residence and removed her personal items, as well as taking property that belonged to the victim, the release said. On the 19th of January, the victim took out warrants for assault with a deadly weapon and assault on a handicapped person against Teresia Leanne Smith, age 31, of the 100 block of North Highland Street in Rayford, the release said. Teresia Leanne Smith is charged with breaking and entering, larceny after breaking and entering, injury to personal property, assault with a deadly weapon, and assault on a handicapped person. Teresia Leanne Smith turned herself in Friday and was processed at the Hope County Detention Center, where her bail was set at $2,300. And a sister was also charged with a break-in. The sister of a Fayetteville teenager accused of breaking into two Cumberland County elementary schools allegedly assisted him in one of the incidents. Victoria Grace McNeely, age 19, of the 600 block of Wiltshire Drive, was charged Wednesday with breaking and entering, larceny, possessing stolen property, and conspiracy. Victoria Grace McNeely and her brother, Bryce McNeely, age 16, of the same address, broke into W.H. Owen Elementary School at 4533 Rayford Road on Friday, arrest warrant said. Cumberland County deputies responded to a burglar alarm at the school at 2:10 in the morning. They searched the building but found no one inside. When a school official reviewed security video, it showed a suspect running from the building before lawmen arrived. When deputies looked at it later that morning, they immediately recognized McNeely, who was charged with the 15 January break-in at Montclair Elementary School, the release said. Victoria McNeely's fingerprints were found on a window where the two entered the school, arrest warrant said. When questioned, she admitted to conspiring with her brother and acting as a lookout while he was inside. Both of them are accused of taking a fundraiser envelope containing just $22 from a classroom. Her bail was set at $15,000. Now, Nancy, I would like to say that, earlier in the program, I mentioned that there was a sit-in at Woolworth's in Greensboro. For those of you that have never been to Greensboro, North Carolina, that is an interesting historical site that I think everybody should see. What do you think, Nancy?
I know we went to see it, and I certainly was impressed by it. It's like they kept it exactly the way it was.
Absolutely, and that's something I think everyone should see.
Okay, let's go for the obituaries today. The death notices. The following deaths have been reported. See upcoming editions of the Fayetteville Observer for complete obituary information. In Cumberland County, Mary Lou Burden, age 68, of Fayetteville, Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. Blinton Williams, age 77, of Fayetteville, formerly of Laurinburg, McFadder Funeral Home. Fred Knox Dew, Sr., age 79 of Fayetteville, Crumpler Funeral Home, Rayford. Martha E. Jones, age 72 of Fayetteville, the Wiseman Mortuary. Richard Cornegay, age 71 of Fayetteville, Wiseman Mortuary. Moving to the Cape Fear region, Evelyn McKinnon, age 89 of Fair Bluff, S&L Funeral Home, Fair Bluff. William Thomas, age 65 of Laurenburg, McFadder Funeral Home. Jennifer Carter Hazelwood, age 40 of Garland, Carter Funeral Home. To Cumberland County, Roy Turner. Mr. Roy Turner of Fayetteville died Friday, January 26, 2018, at Duke University Hospital. Arrangements for the family are entrusted to Lafayette Funeral Home, 6651 Rayford Road, Fayetteville. Colleen S. Shields, Fayetteville. Colleen S. Shields, age 97 of Fayetteville, died Monday, January 29. Lafayette Memorial Park Cemetery, Rogers and Brees Funeral Home. Retired Sergeant First Class Randall Lee Whitley. Fayetteville, retired Sergeant First Class Randall Lee Whitley, age 54 of Fayetteville, passed away on Monday, January 22nd. The memorial and his information is entrusted to Rogers and Brees Funeral Home. Eunice Martin Nobles from Fayetteville, age 89, passed away peacefully in her home on Tuesday, January 30th, 2018, surrounded by her family. Martha Elizabeth Jones, Fayetteville, age 72, died Tuesday, January 30th, 2018. Wiseman Mortuary. Willie James Ray, Fayetteville. Willie James Ray, age 74 of Fayetteville, died Sunday, January 28, 2018. Colvin Funeral Home and Crematory. Pearlie Mae Roberts. Pearlie Mae Roberts, age 71 of Fayetteville, died Sunday, January 21st, 2018. Wiseman Mortuary.
And in the region and elsewhere, Mary Love Richburg Talton, age 96, previously of 305 Fisher Drive in Clinton, passed away peacefully at the Heritage Assisted Living Facility in Fayetteville Tuesday morning, 30 January 2018, with members of her loving family by her side. A memorial service will be held on Saturday afternoon on the 3rd of February 2018 at 2 p.m. at the First United Methodist Church of Clinton, North Carolina, with Pastor T.R. Miller officiating. A reception will follow in the church fellowship hall. In addition to her parents and two husbands, she was preceded in death by her son-in-law, Harold Ryder, and two brothers, Elton and David James Jake Turlington Jr. The family will receive friends immediately following the memorial service in the Methodist Church Fellowship Hall. In lieu of flowers, donations may be made to Heritage Assisted Living, located at 240 N Street, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28301, or to Backpack Buddies, 208 Sampson Street, Clinton, North Carolina, 28328. Royal Hall is honored to serve Mary Lou's family for those funeral services. Mrs. Elridge Boykin, age 88, of Lumberton, died Sunday, 28 January 2018. The funeral will be on Saturday at 2 p.m. at the Bethany Presbyterian Church. The visitation will be at the Bethany Presbyterian Church on Saturday from noon to 2 p.m. The burial will be at the Bethany Presbyterian Church Cemetery, and the Colvin Funeral Home has been entrusted with those funeral services. Judson McCrae Mac Bledsoe, age 61, of Lumberton, died Monday, 29 January 2018. The memorial will be on Friday at 7:30 p.m. at the Floyd Memorial Chapel in Lumberton. The visitation will be at the chapel following the service. Floyd Mortuary has been entrusted with those funeral services. Herbert Ray White, age 63, of Whiteville, died Wednesday, 31 January 2018. There will be a graveside service on Friday at 3 p.m. located at the Western Prong Church Cemetery. The visitation will be at the McKenzie Mortuary on Thursday at 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. and the burial will be at the Western Prong Church Cemetery. McKenzie Mortuary service has been entrusted with the funeral services. Ruthie Andrews Bridges, age 66, of Rayford, died Friday, 26 January 2018. The funeral will be on Friday at 2 p.m. at the Mount Sinai Holy Church. The viewing will be at the Bowie Funeral Home Chapel on Thursday at 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. The burial will be at the McLaughlin Chapel Cemetery. The Bowie Funeral Home has been entrusted with the funeral services. Ora T. Leak, age 91, of Laurenburg, died Sunday, 28 January 2018. The funeral will be on Friday at 1 p.m. at the Bethlehem Baptist Church. The viewing will be at the McFatter Funeral Home on Thursday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. and the burial will be at the Hillside Memorial Park. Mr. Kelly McLean, age 72, of 126 Allen Drive in Irwin, died Sunday, 28 January 2018. The funeral will be on Sunday at 2 p.m. at the Greens Chapel FWB Church located at 29 Greens Chapel Church Road in Lillington. The viewing will be at the Dafford Funeral Home located at 707 East Edgerton Street in Dunn on Saturday from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. The burial will be at the Rest Haven Cemetery in Dunn, and the Dafford Funeral Home of Dunn has been entrusted with the funeral services. Mr. Emerson Simmons, age 65, of Fairmont, died on Friday, 26 January 2018. There will be a graveside service on Saturday at 11 a.m. at the Lewis Simmons Family Cemetery located on Highway 904 in Fairmont. The viewing will be following the graveside service on Saturday. And this concludes all of our obituaries for the 1st of February 2018. The time now is 11:10 in the morning on Thursday 2018. And I would like to remind you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency. and we broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations. We request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina radio reading service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today.
We're not alone in the universe because God is always with us. Billy Graham. Question: does the Bible say anything about life on other planets? I'm fascinated by all the discoveries about the universe that have been made in recent years. Maybe we're not alone in the universe after all. By N.M.C. Answer: no, the Bible doesn't say anything about the possibility of life on other planets. Its main concern is with human life on this planet, including our problems and our future. This doesn't mean life can't exist on other planets, for it well might. The Bible simply doesn't tell us. But the Bible tells us that two very important truths that I hope you'll remember. First, it reminds us that everything in the universe, absolutely everything, owes its existence to God. Personally, I'm overwhelmed by what astronomers and other scientists have discovered about space during my lifetime. Countless galaxies, incredible distances, phenomena we can barely understand. Yet nothing is as profound as those words, the first words of the Bible. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Genesis 1:1. God is that great. The other truth we need to remember is that although God created us, we have rebelled against Him and chosen to go our own way. Think of it. We have rejected God, our Creator, and we have paid a terrible price for our folly. This is why we need Christ, for only He can reconcile us to God, and only He can give us hope that we will go to be with Him in heaven forever. Is your faith and hope in Him? Someday all our questions will be answered, including this one. But listen, we are not alone. God is with us, and life's greatest joy comes from knowing Him and living for His glory. The psalmist declared, "If I go up to the heavens, you are there." Psalms 139:8. Now readers, you can write to the Reverend Billy Graham at the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association, 1 Billy Graham Parkway, Charlotte, North Carolina 28201, or call 877-2-GRAHAM. The website for the Billy Graham Evangelistic Association is at billygraham.org. Tribune Media Services.
And a graduate longs to distance himself from family strife. He's asking dear Abby what he should do. Dear Abby, I am an 18-year-old guy who's having troubles regarding my family. My parents are divorced and I moved out of my mom's house after I graduated from high school. Well, after the divorce, I flipped back and forth between living with either mom or dad. I moved into my mother's house after an argument with my stepmother, who insisted that I call her mother. I don't consider her my mother. My father is an alcoholic and was completely impaired when he married this woman. I've never forgiven him for that mistake. When I visit, I cannot help but feel no longer welcomed in his home. My mother, she is a hypocritical tiger mom, made my high school career so stressful that it pushed me into severe depression. So I decided to speak to a doctor who prescribed medication for me and gave me therapist referrals. Since I moved out, I have never been happier in my entire life. My siblings and I have never been close, other than at times when we needed someone to talk to about our parental situation. I have been thinking about disappearing and starting a brand new life on my own with no thought of my family past. I am not sure if this whole mess is worth fixing. I request any advice you can give me, Abby. Signed, Breaking Away. Dear Breaking Away, for your stepmother to demand that you call her mother was absolutely wrong. She is not and never will be your mother. Besides, you already have one of those. For your mother to have pushed you to succeed academically is normal when a parent thinks her child has potential that isn't being realized. That she was so heavy-handed that it had the opposite effect on you is very sad indeed. If you would like to move away and start your new life, no one can stop you because at 18 years old you are considered an adult. Even though you cannot vote, you are still considered an adult. But I do not think you should do that in anger without mending your fences. If it's possible to do so at any rate, running away will not have the effect you are looking for because your family will still be living in your head. Here's the next one for Abby. Dear Abby, I believe my wife is egocentric. She has 5, not 1, but 5 framed pictures of herself around our house. Even the wallpaper on her tablet is a picture of herself. If we have a disagreement about anything, she will not talk to me for days until I break the ice. And I believe it's ruining our long marriage of 2.5 years. Do you have any suggestion? Signed, Mystified in the South. Dear Mystified in the South, yes, be less quick to judge your wife because of the photos she keeps around the house. The reason may have less to do about egocentricity than her own insecurity. What is destroying your marriage is not the pictures, it is your wife's inability to fight fair during your arguments. Her silent treatment is emotionally abusive, and it is not a healthy way to solve a disagreement. A licensed marriage and family therapist may be able to help the two of you communicate more effectively. And if your wife won't agree to it, then you need to go to the therapist by yourself. And lastly for Abby, Dear Abby, should I marry someone who does not love me more than anyone in this world? Signed, Jimmy in Virginia. Dear Jimmy in Virginia, I think that depends on who else the person loves. A very succinct, quick answer for Jimmy in Virginia, don't you think?
Very.
If you would like to write Abby about your problems or your situation, you may do so by writing her at Dear Abby, Post Office Box 69440, Los Angeles, California 90069.
All right, are you ready for the horoscope by Stella Wilder? If you were born today, you are one of the most proactive, driven people born under your sign. And that is saying something, considering that so many Aquarius natives can brag of being go-getters. What sets you apart is likely your curiosity. You crave the lessons that life can teach you. Aquarius, January 20th through February 18th. You can turn a job into a pleasure today, and it will be even easier to do so if you are accompanied by that certain special someone. Pisces, February 19th through March 20th. Pisces, you are more eager than most to journey down a certain path. It is not clear where it leads, but you have a hunch something good will happen. Aries, March 21st to April 19th. Now is no time for secrets, Aries. You want everything to be out in the open so everyone can contribute to the progress being made. Taurus, April 20th to May 20th. Taurus, you mustn't stand in the way of change today, large or small. That which seems minor is likely to have the greatest impact. Gemini, May 21st through June 20th. Gemini, you are eager to be reunited with someone who has inspired you in the past. Set aside any preconceived notions because anything can happen. Cancer, June 21st to July 22nd. Cancer, you're not in the mood for the same old thing. You want to break with routine and do something that takes others by surprise. Leo, July 23rd through August 22nd. Leo, what you want is available to you today, but you will have to pay for the privilege. You can't get something for nothing right now. Virgo, August 23rd through September 22nd. Virgo, you may find yourself between two influences, fighting for the power to choose as you see fit. You will not be ordered around. Libra, September 23rd through October 22nd. Libra, anyone working against you at this time is going to have his or her hands full, as you are feeling more confident than you have since the year began. Scorpio, October 23rd through November 21st. Scorpio, you may not realize what is happening to you at this time, but someone close knows how to get you back in touch with yourself. Sagittarius, November 22nd to December 21st. Saggy, you receive information today from an unconfirmed source and through unconventional channels. Can you believe it? Capricorn, December 22nd to January 19th. Capricorn, you may have trouble doing your best work today when others are throwing so many distractions your way. You may have to isolate yourself. Here we go with the horoscopes by Wiley.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, it's Tongue Twister time, as brought to you by the People's Pharmacy, as written by Joe and Teresa Graydon. And here we go. Why was Tamiflu ineffective against my influenza? Question. You have written that Tamiflu can help people recover more quickly from influenza. Well, I don't think it works. I came down with the flu and called my doctor's office, and it took me a week for them to fit me into their schedule. The doctor did a test, and yes, he confirmed that I had the flu. He gave me a prescription for Tamiflu, but it didn't do anything for me. It took another week before I began to feel better. Why all the hype for a drug that does not work? Answer. Oseltamivir, or Tamiflu, is an oral antiviral medication for influenza. It works by blocking an enzyme the virus uses to spread it throughout the body. To be maximally effective, Tamiflu should be taken within 48 hours of your symptoms. It still may be somewhat helpful taken up to 4 days after flu symptoms begin. In your case, though, too much time had elapsed for the Tamiflu to provide any benefit for you. Even under the best of circumstances, clinical trials show that Tamiflu shortens flu symptoms by a day or 2 only. The drug may, however, reduce the chance of complications. The next question is, my endocrinologist has prescribed the diabetes drug metformin to control thyroid nodules and prevent thyroid cancer. But get this, I am not diabetic, so my other doctors wonder why I would be taking metformin. Is there any evidence that metformin has anti-cancer benefits? Answer. Your endocrinologist is keeping up with medical research. A review in the journal Frontiers in Endocrinology, in the online version, dated 14 November 2017, discusses the anti-cancer activity of metformin. There also is evidence that this drug, metformin, can reduce thyroid nodules and may both prevent and help treat thyroid cancer. A systematic review concluded that metformin might be helpful in treating colorectal and prostate cancer as well. That information came from the Annals of Oncology, dated 2016 December. The next question is, I don't mind taking generic drugs because I cannot afford brand name medicines. The effectiveness of generics varies so widely, though, that I get very frustrated. My doctor prescribed sertraline for depression and anxiety. The first version of sertraline I took made me dizzy and gave me tremors. It also didn't do much for my depression, which I needed. So I switched to Greenstone sertraline, and that worked much better. I have now learned that Greenstone stopped producing sertraline. What am I going to do? Answer. Sertraline is the generic name for the antidepressant Zoloft. Until recently, Greenstone offered an authorized generic identical to the brand name drug. If you wanted to buy the brand name, it would cost over $300 for a month's supply. But in contrast, the generic form is just under $15 a month at most pharmacies. But as you have pointed out, you will not know how you will do on a particular generic until you try it. Many people have reported problems with some generic forms of this drug. One visitor to our website wrote, when the pharmacy changed manufacturers for my sertraline, I started on a downward spiral, and I feel depressed, agitated, anxious, crabby, fatigued, and unmotivated. It is possible to purchase brand name Zoloft from a reputable Canadian online pharmacy. The cost for a month's supply from Canada is between $40 and $80 a month. But be careful though, rogue online pharmacies sell counterfeit medications. To learn more about authorized generics and reputable online pharmacies, you will want to read our online resource called Saving Money on Medicines, and it is available at www.peoplespharmacy.com. If you would like to write the Gradens, that is Joe and Teresa Graden, you may do it via their website at peoplespharmacy.com. Now, Nancy, this brings me to another point in which we heard the President say during his State of the Union address that he was going to make our pharmacies in the United States of America lower the cost of drugs so we don't have to go to Canada or Mexico or other places to buy cheaper drugs that are not generics. What do you say to that?
That's good.
Well, he better, because there are many Americans that what would happen if you don't have a computer to buy drugs online?
Then a lot of people don't.
That's right. So I agree with the President. He has to do something about lowering the prices of drugs in America, because it is a racket for big pharmacy making all kinds of money off the backs of poor people that need their drugs.
Amen. Now here's a question I'm very upset about. How secure are mobile hotel room keys? This is by Melissa Lamborina. Some hotels offer mobile check-in and a digital room key through their apps, allowing guests to bypass the front desk and head straight to their room. The room door opens with a mobile key when the phone touches the lock on the door. Functionality varies by provider and hotel. Generally, your phone's Bluetooth setting needs to be on for keys to work. These electronic keys may also provide access to other areas on the property, such as the fitness center, the lounge, the elevator, or the parking garage. Mobile keys are time savers, but as a new technology, they may not be without vulnerabilities. Their security depends on the measures that hotels or mobile key providers have in place to protect their system. Michael Chamberlain, North American practice lead of Spider Labs at Trustwave, a security company that protects businesses from cyber crimes, is a so-called ethical hacker. With his team, he hacks hotel clients' mobile keys and locks to locate vulnerabilities before criminals do. On one of the locks we looked at, we were able to reset the administrative password without being authorized to do so, Chamberlain says. We were able to manage the whole environment, and new vulnerabilities are introduced with updates to mobile apps, he adds. Nearly all digital locks in the hotel space have encryption that mirrors financial institutional security, according to T.J. Person, founder of CEO of mobile key provider OpenKey. Company has a cloud security company monitoring its servers around the clock to help find and correct vulnerabilities. A traditional key card generally remains an option for guests who prefer it, but it's not necessarily a safer option than a mobile key. Some magnetic key cards can be cloned wirelessly and read using antennas, according to Chamberlain. And of course, physical theft is a risk, particularly if hotel guests keep their key card and room number together.
And that's one of the things we do when we go to a hotel. You know, notice how the hotel person writes the number of your hotel key on the little card. If you drop that card anywhere, they not only have your key card, but they have the number of your hotel room. They can get in. I always ask for a blank card when I go there, but here we are. Now we have to worry about people getting into our hotel rooms, in addition to worrying about bed bugs in the hotel room. What in the world are we going to do?
We're going to have fun and go to the right place.
Right, but maybe they should go back to the old-fashioned keys. I don't know what's going on here. I'm completely shocked. But I'd like to say, in addition to my shock, that the time now is 11:36 in the morning. It's Thursday, the 1st of February, 2018. And I would like to tell you that this is the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service. It is a United Way partner agency. We broadcast from the campus of Fayetteville State University, and our signal is carried by WUNC Chapel Hill. As a nonprofit agency, we rely on public donations, and we request your support to continue our services. When making charitable donations, please keep the Southeastern North Carolina Radio Reading Service in mind. Our post office box number is 35029, Fayetteville, North Carolina, 28303. If you have any questions or comments, please call us at 910-672-1600 or call the toll-free number 844-709-5656. Your radio hosts today are Clark and
Nancy.
And we are proud to serve you today.
All right, a flu shot now may still be effective. By Deanna Bouknight. Instinctively, many rush to bare their arms for an annual flu shot at the first sign of cooler weather in the fall. The misconception is that once flu season is underway, it's too late to get the shot. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration decree, not so. Because flu season runs from October to May, a flu shot at any time during those months reduces chances of getting sick and spreading the virus to others. By the end of the second week of January, the Center for Disease Control said the flu was widespread across the country. College students returning to campus from winter break were especially vulnerable, as are children in school and the elderly living in multi-unit facilities. In fact, the outbreak of flu this year is deemed an epidemic due to the number of cases surpassing an established baseline. Even though the current flu vaccines are not effective against all strains of the flu, health officials advise the public to get vaccinated. Getting the shot not only lowers chances of contracting a flu virus, but also purportedly lessens symptoms if the flu develops. At the first sign of a flu virus, see a physician. With the flu, some or all of these symptoms occur quickly. Fever or feeling feverish and chills, cough, sore throat, runny or stuffy nose, body aches, headaches, and fatigue. Doctors will often prescribe an antiviral drug to help lessen or shorten the virus. However, bed rest, avoiding contact with others, hydrating, checking your temperature, and washing hands frequently are always ways to combat the flu. And be patient. The flu can last a week or two. Common complications that can arise from dehydration and pneumonia. General rule is that if a fever is over 103 or has lasted 3 days, it is time to check in with a physician, even if one was seen at the onset of the flu.
And now we have an interesting article from our own Myron B. Pitts. He says the Lodge is about getting your life back on track. Ray Helton says homeless people in Fayetteville do not lack for places to receive food, to receive clothing, or to receive other necessities. This is thanks to a strong church community, the work of nonprofits, and of individuals who wish to help. We are a loving and caring city, says Ray Helton, Executive Director of Operation Inasmuch, a Christian-based nonprofit group that serves the homeless. The biggest issue among the homeless in Fayetteville, he says, is hope. The hope that they can get a job and get off of the street. Jobs was a repeated refrain that staff members heard when they interviewed homeless people in preparation for the Lodge, which is a program for homeless men that helps the homeless men get back on their feet. The Lodge has a capacity for 40 residents and is near the main Inasmuch building located on Hillsborough Street. The Lodge is open for 10 months and it has helped 103 men land a job. The Lodge is about getting your life back on track, says Ray Mallon, a resident who was scheduled to interview for a job today. And for me, that is what I needed. Ray Mallon is 42 years old. He is a veteran who enrolled in the Lodge within weeks of being released from prison. The strict rules for the program are spelled out on a sheet of paper made available to people who receive the daily breakfast at Inasmuch. And the rules dissuade some of the homeless. But the structure appealed to me big time, said Ray Mallon. They push you. They want you to succeed. I'm multi-generational military, so it fit right just for me. And that's the way I think, said Ray Mallon. Ray Mallon had a drinking problem. He said he started to drink at the age of 12. Among Lodge program requirements are that alcohol and drugs must be stopped. Residents are subject to random urinalysis. Meanwhile, staff members give them access to a range of services that include counseling, financial management, and job training. They are required to earn 15 points each week toward self-development through activities that include writing book reports or attending a weekly Bible study. The homeless men are expected to keep the building clean and tidy, and they apply for a minimum of 5 jobs each week. They get to stay at the Lodge for free the first week, and then after that, after 7 days of living there for free, they pay just $5 a day. Mallon says the residents and staff bond together. The relationships are important as the men transition from Phase 1 newbies to Phase 3 leadership level, which is where Ray Mallon is. The Phase 3 guys look at this place as their home and each other as family members, he says. And the Phase 1 and 2 guys are just starting to pick that up. We look out for each other. The Lodge manager, Matt Fogarty, says 24 men currently live at the Lodge, which has seen a slight dip as the weather has warmed up. The program experiences turnover because some men wash out. 10 men are in the Phase 3 program, said Matt Fogarty. They have proven they can maintain employment, they have proven they can maintain sobriety, and that they are able to follow all the rules of the program, said Matt Fogarty, the Lodge manager. We promote them into leadership positions so they can encourage the others in phase 1 and 2 to do the same thing and to lead by example. Jobs that lodge residents earn run the gamut. Many of them have to navigate through their criminal records. A number of jobs are in food service and construction. One of the Phase 3 men went on to build computer databases for a non-profit organization. Another got a job as a social worker in Moore County. Matt Fogarty says 54 men have moved on to a stable living environment. Some former lodge residents graduate to one of 7 homes that Operation Inasmuch owns on Frank Street.
Frank Street.
Sue Bird, Inasmuch founder and director of community engagement, says the staff has learned a lot over the last year. We have lost a couple of people because they were not ready for the freedom that came with Frank Street, she said. So we have learned that the classes cannot stop. The financial counseling cannot stop. They are a must. Helton says the lodge proves that homeless people do want to work. He says he believes people are made in God's image and God is a doer, and he created the earth after all. So people are meant to be doers too, said Helton. What we emphasize is success is dependent on personal responsibility. What we try to do is create a safe environment so these homeless men can each excel. I think that sounds like a great program. Columnist Myron B. Pitts can be reached at mpitts@fayeobserver.com, or if you would like to talk to him about this article, you may call Myron B. Pitts at 910-486-3559.
All right. Clark, have you heard of the word ayuga?
Ayuga? Is that salad? Is it another name for salad?
No.
What is it?
It comes from Denmark. Think about your home giving you a hug. Ayuga is derived from the Danish notion of comfort. Pronounced Hyuga, the noun has launched a new home trend in America. Hyuga is the antithesis of daily work and school chaos. It is to humans what hibernation is to bears. Think soothing, warm, inviting interiors. Think couples, families, or friends gathered around a fireplace, playing games, conversing. Hyuga appeals especially to sensibilities during winter months. But how does one make a home more Hyuga? Some of the mindbodygreen.com's essentials are candles, candles, and more candles. Super soft throw blankets. Falk fur. Chunky knit merino wool cashmere. Oversized thick sweaters, sweatshirts, socks, scarves, robes, and wraps. Comfort food such as family favorite soup, stew, meatballs, or pot pie. Baking cookies, pies, and tarts. Coffee, teas, hot chocolate, wassail, toddies. A stack of books next to a comfortable chair or sofa. Natural or nature-inspired decorative elements, such as live plants and succulents, or art featuring woody scenes, birds, and mountains. A few items that reflect personal character, photographs of family or musical instrument, for example. Plush rugs underfoot and plenty of squishy, soft pillows evoke Hyuga as well. Hyuga is about creating a retreat, a place where homeowners and others want to be and stay. It affirms that to achieve true Hyuga, smartphones must be turned off. and put aside. The idea is to connect with self and others, enjoy surroundings, and avoid distractions. Country living begs the question, can Hyugi extend into warm weather months? Certainly. Intimate settings with candles, twinkling lights, good food and wine, relaxing music, and peaceful hues work together to heighten the Hyugi ambiance. Hyugi can even be realized while on a picnic with ginghams, a woven basket, colorful plasticware, and homemade goodies. Home is where the Hyugi is, behind the cozy trend imported from Denmark.
And in local and state, an agreement is near on the stadium funding. Fayetteville and Cumberland County leaders say they are close to coming to terms on the county's contribution to funding for a baseball stadium and its continued payment toward a parking deck. Mayor Mitch Colvin said at the Fayetteville-Cumberland Liaison Committee meeting Wednesday that he and County Commissioner Chairman Larry Lancaster have been discussing the issues. I think we are making great progress, said Mayor Mitch Colvin. After the meeting, Larry Lancaster agreed. I think we are very close. The city is building a baseball stadium on Hay Street that will be home to the Houston Astros minor league affiliate in the Carolina League. The facility is expected to cost $33 million. County commissioners agreed in September of 2016 to help pay for the stadium, but city officials expressed concern last week that the county was changing the terms of an agreement to pay for the Franklin Street parking garage, which was finished in the year 2012. City leaders said the changes to the parking deck agreement would cost the city $2.5 million. County Manager Amy Cannon said in an interview last month that the changes to the parking garage agreement were discussed at the baseball committee meeting in December of 2017. County commissioners at the meeting thought there was a verbal understanding that the changes would be made. The county plans to help pay for the stadium the same way it helps pay for the garage, with revenue it gets from a special tax district. City officials say money from the parking deck agreement is being used to pay off debt from its construction. The county's proposal calls for the county to stop paying for the facility in the year 2025. A resolution passed by county commissioners calls for the county to provide 100% of the county's part of the increased tax revenue to the stadium project for 5 years and 75% for another 15 years. In another action at the meeting, city and county officials agreed to study whether the county would consider giving the city authority to regulate developments in the Shaw Heights area under an extraterritorial jurisdiction agreement. Members of the committee talked about the possibility of the city annexing Shaw Heights. The city would have to get support from a majority of the residents in the area or ask the State General Assembly to complete the annexation through a law. State Representative Marvin Lucas said Representative Billy Richardson said the City Council and County Board of Commissioners would have to approve of annexation for lawmakers to support that move. Committee members also got an update on the potential for a state grant to help pay for a joint 911 dispatcher center. The county applied for a grant last year, but it was denied because the application was not clear on whether the city or county would run the center. The county later agreed for the city to run the 911 center, but the two sides could reach an agreement in time to apply again in December. Assistant County Manager Tracy Jackson said at the meeting Wednesday, state officials have indicated that future considerations for grants might focus more on technology upgrades than consolidation of two district centers. That's not firm, he said. That's just a possibility. All sides agreed after negotiations to keep using the population methods to divide money. The city and towns agreed to share half of the sales tax revenue they receive as a result of annexations. That agreement was due to expire in 2013, but has been extended twice. It is now scheduled to end June 30, 2019. If you would like to speak to Steve Devane, that wrote this article, and discuss this with him, you may call him at 910-486-3572.
All right.
3 minutes.
Let's just look at some movies that are new on Redbox, in case you're looking for a movie for the weekend. 9/11, Cook-Off, Happy Death Day, It, Marshall, My Little Pony, November Criminals, Scooby-Doo and Batman Brave and the Bold, The Foreigner, The Hitman's Bodyguard, the Lego Ninjago movie, The Mountain Between Us, The Pirates of Somalia, The Snowman, and Victoria in Abbott. Right? If you're new on HBO, you can still see The Christmas Carol, All Eyes on Me, Back to the Future 1, 2, and 3, The Box, Cats and Dogs, Revenge of Kitty Galore, David Bowie, The Last 5 Years, Domestic Disturbance.
And here is a good tip in your Facebook news feed. Facebook is making changes to show users more posts from friends and family in their news feed. If you still want news in your feed, including from brands or websites or celebrities whose pages you follow, here's how to do it from Lifehacker. On Facebook, click on 3 dots next to the newsfeed icon on the left rail, then select Edit Preferences. You'll see Facebook's preference page where you can prioritize or hide updates from pages and friends. Select the Prioritize Who to See First option, then select the pages and friends you most want to see. Now you'll see the pages you've chosen first with a small star next to them, above a newsfeed generated selection of recent posts from your social network. You can, at the same time, hide updates from pages and friends you would rather not have polluting your news feed. This is kind of a very good tip because when I go on Facebook, it seems like all I get are ads from all kinds of places. Isn't that true?
It's true.
It's just lots of pop-ups that you can't imagine are always showing up, and when you're trying to read something on Facebook, especially on your smartphone, all kinds of things pop up. So these are some very good tips on how to make changes on your Facebook feed. I would like to say that this concludes our broadcast of the Fayetteville Observer. Your radio hosts today have been Clark and
Nancy.
At 2 p.m., please listen to the Southern Pines Pilot, and at 4 p.m. you can hear Off the Bookshelf. And additionally, you will hear a rebroadcast of today's Fayetteville Observer tonight at 9 p.m. We will now join the Raleigh Network for additional news of interest. Thank you for tuning us in. We have enjoyed being with you this morning, and have a wonderful day.